Association. Ladies and gentlemen, they're beginning their roll from the left. These are the Freedom 250. The MiG-29 and 5 Tiger and the T-28 Talon.
Greg, can I book over to the side?
Commercial space exploration by Commanding Inspiration.
Sir.
2021. The world's first all-civilian orbital mission, which raised look at the, not just the paint scheme, the beautiful blue and white, but look at the configuration of the cockpits. And we're going to talk in a minute about, well, are they all the same, or are any of them significantly different? Ladies and gentlemen, we've got them low and to the right. Here they are, the NASA Freedom 250 F5.
Is there water in there?
A little bit more about NASA in August, NASA is launching the Manned Grace Roman Space Telescope ahead of schedule and under budget. Its images of the universe will be so big, there's not an existing screen large enough to display them in the entire world. Early next year, NASA payloads will be landing on the moon on a near monthly cadence to build the moon base, humanity's first outpost on another world, and you can watch along at nasa.gov/moonbase. NASA has announced Space Reactor 1 Freedom, mankind's first nuclear fission-powered interplanetary spacecraft. SR-1 Freedom will travel to Mars and deploy the Skyfall drone, which will scout and map the Martian surface. Now watch, ladies and gentlemen, over your left shoulder, and approaching from behind momentarily. The flight will fly from behind and straight out in front. The crew of Artemis 3 has been announced next year. 3 of the most powerful rockets in existence will launch to Earth orbit, where the Orion spacecraft will dock and test our landers before America makes its grand return to the lunar surface on Artemis 4 in 2028. Ladies and gentlemen, from behind, Freedom 250 F5.
Any assistance?
As our crew circles out straight out in front of you, begins a slight left turn, the lead aircraft, Jerry Jive Kerby, the retired United States Air Force colonel. On the right wing, ship number 2 is the NASA administrator, Jared Isaacman, call sign Rook. Left wing, number 3, Doug Dimko, call sign Tut, former Black and Jet Team left wing. And in the slot,
Okay, thank you very much.
Gustafson, call sign Stroker, retired United States Air Force Lieutenant Colonel, former Air Force Thunderbird slot pilot, number 4. So folks, as you keep your eye on the F5 flight out to your left, you notice the number 4 aircraft, the slot aircraft, is pulled up and out. And now we're going to get to see 3 of the remaining aircraft 1, 2, and 3, in a tight 3-ship formation. Come back over. They will be a belly pass from your left to your right. So if you're not familiar with that, it's kind of an arcing pass like you saw a minute ago, but this time they're going to show you the other side of these beautiful F5 Tiger II aircraft. Again, look and see if you can tell the difference between the lead aircraft and the ones on each wing. Steve, as they circle around, I heard a young lady here by the stand say, you know, Rob is nuts up there. He thinks those are F5s. Those two on the back have got 2 seats. They've got to be T-38s. Well, I'll tell you what, Steve, you've got E model, single seat up front, right? And the F model with the 2 seats that we have on the wings. You know the other easy way to see that we just saw in the belly pass? How's that? When you look at the wing from the bottom, the T-38 doesn't have those scrapes extending along the fuselage, along the intakes of the engine from the bottom. So that's one of the easiest ways to tell it's an F5 and not a T-38, is that scrape that sticks out at a different angle out in front of the leading edge of the wing.
Well, now I've learned something new today.
There you go. They're also a little bit different to airframe. It's a little bigger. They got different engines in them than the T-38. They certainly come from the same family at North American. And the trainer version, the T-38, has trained generations and generations and still in service today with our Air Force. So ladies and gentlemen, get your cameras out. Here they come one more time. The beautiful 3-ship formation, the Freedom 250 F5 Tigers run the route.
NASA has a pretty big presence here. And EAA AirVenture, they have their own pavilion where they have lots of displays that talk about all the things that they do. And normally when we talk about NASA, we think about space travel, right? You're talking about Artemis, you're talking about the moon base, going back to Mars, all these exciting things, but this first A in NASA stands for aeronautics. And they have been doing aeronautical research for many, many years. It's all part of NASA's mission. Earlier today, I had a chance to talk to Jim Les. His call sign is Clue, but he's far beyond clueless, that is for sure. He's been a NASA test pilot for many, many years. He's working on the X-59 Quest project that we were talking about, and that project is set up to reduce the sound.
I'm sure it'll be with possibly one low approach.
Through the years, they're pretty soon we're going to fly, pretty soon we're going to fly. They did fly. Last fall, they actually flew the airplane for the first time, and in the last few months, they've taken it past the speed of sound, Mach 1.1, 1.2, and now the latest flight, Mach 1.4, and they have completely reduced the sound and sound profile of the sonic boom. So it's not a rattling, window shaking kind of thing, making car alarms go off. It's more like a and hopefully they'll be able to turn this technology, this research that they've been doing for these many years, to be able to get maybe someday supersonic airliner flight back into production.
Well, absolutely, Steve. And in my former world in the FAA, along with the legislators, they are working to change the legislation to allow supersonic flight back over our United States in conjunction with all the work that NASA's doing. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you face the runway. Look to the left. They have rejoined into a 4-ship, and they are headed your way for what they call the pop break. And then we should have a Zoom flight after that. So get your cameras out. If you haven't got that perfect memory, here's your chance. Right here from the left, the NASA F5 Freedom 250 flight.
T-28 and 15.
The flight man has
We're for low approach for the gear up.
that is their transition to in-trail.
It'll be a low approach and then in the brake plan.
Left to right. No passes. And I'm guessing, just guessing, that the throttles are going to come up and we might see a little bit of speed right here. It's going to be fun. For all you airplane geeks in the audience like me, just keep smiling. It's okay. This is why we come to Oshkosh. Right here, ladies and gentlemen, from the left. That was our lead, Jerry Kerby, call sign Jive. Here comes Rook Isaacman. Followed behind, Doug Pitko, call sign Tiger. Gustafson, call sign Stroker. Now, Steve, we got to see slow speed in formation. We got to see high speed single shift. One of those things that's part of what this demonstration showed us is the versatility and capabilities of this amazing aircraft. So the F-5 helps support some of the civilian operations and space exploration, but the T-28s have trained our astronauts for many years, and the aircraft, the base family aircraft, provides so many capabilities to help our... Jive, is she setting up over the numbers? Yeah, so Steve, you see them there, gear down, flaps down as they settle in. One of the things that gave me the aviation disease that I have was my older brother was in UPT at Williams Air Force Base in Arizona, and I spent the entire summer on the end of the runway watching T-28 flying. So when I look to the left and see the gear and flaps down on that profile from the front, my heart just jumped.
If you can slow it down, you can make the right turn on pop and come back in front of the crowd.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, as our fourth ship holds the nose off, little aerodynamic braking and settles the nose down as the noise of the jet engines begin to fade. How about a huge round of applause and an Oshkosh thank you to NASA and the Freedom 250 F5 team.
Out of the way.